Wednesday was an extraordinary day in the history of Hong Kong. 53 pro-democracy activists and opposition leaders were arrested under China's sweeping national security law. An unprecedented crackdown as Beijing tries to throttle Hong Kong's remaining freedoms. The raid took place in early hours of Wednesday, and the operation involved nearly 1,000 police officers and dozens of arrests. So why were they arrested? Well, most of the detainees have been charged with subversion. Subversion is undermining the power of an established authority, which is, in this case, Beijing. The 53 pro-democracy leaders were arrested for their involvement in an unofficial Democratic Party's primary elections, that is, the primaries. The vote took place in late July after the Chinese Communist Party passed the national security law, and under this new law, anything that China broadly defines as secession, subversion, terrorism, or collusion with international forces is punishable with up to a lifetime in jail. The mass arrests send the clearest signal yet that Beijing is determined to stamp out any sign of political opposition in Hong Kong. And this after nearly a year of pro-democracy protests. The situation is alarming. But let's go a little back in history to get a clear picture of what really led to this. In 1997, Britain handed over the territory of Hong Kong to China, but there was one clause under this agreement that Hong Kong will be governed by one country, two systems rule. What exactly does that mean? The one country part means that Hong Kong is officially part of China, while the two systems part gives it a degree of autonomy, including rights like freedom of the press that are absent in mainland China. China is supposed to abide by this arrangement until 2047, but for years Beijing has been eroding those freedoms and trying to bring Hong Kong more tightly under its control. The national security law stands in clear violation of the one country, two systems clause. Wednesday's mass operation marked China's most brazen attempt yet to silence Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement, and that too with an iron fist. Dozens of opposition figures were put behind bars, even an American citizen. John Clancy, a solicitor with the law firm Hosei Y and Partners, was arrested on suspicion of subversion. Clancy works in a legal firm which is known for taking on human rights cases. Samuel Chu, director of a US-based Hong Kong Democracy Council, condemned the incident. Taking to Twitter, he said, and I quote, "The purge in Hong Kong continues in the largest single day of arrests yet since the implementation of the national security law. The CCP and Hong Kong authorities sought to root out the whole of the pro-democracy political establishment and movement." The arrests have been condemned by many global leaders and human rights groups, urging Beijing to release the activists and stop its crackdown on free speech under the ambit of its sweeping national security law. Now, for more on this story, joining us live is Ryan Ho-Kilpatrick, a journalist from Hong Kong. Ryan, thanks for joining us. Now, 53 pro-democracy activists and lawmakers have been arrested. Tell us more about the situation in Hong Kong and what kind of legal provision do these activists have at their disposal?
Yeah, well, it's important to note that it wasn't just pro-democracy leaders that were arrested yesterday, but all the way down to the abilities primaries, even, obscure social workers, lawyers, people who worked on, accessibility rights or refugee rights. So it wasn't just a matter of arresting the leaders, but of almost arresting the entire opposition from top to bottom. We're hearing today that they are being released today after being held overnight, and they haven't actually been. So it looks like these charges might not even stand up in court because they're just that flimsy. Even members of the very last executive council have possibly be charged with subversion simply for holding primary elections.
Right, Ryan, we'll have to leave it there. We're running short of time. We have to go in for a quick break. Thank you so much for joining us on WION World is One.